Hey guys, it's Shania, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, first of all, I got some new, like an actual lighting kit, so like, our lighting is spot on today, guys. Today, I'm gonna be spilling the tea on my university degree. I'm gonna be right back, I'm gonna go make some tea. Okay, and we're back. So this past week, I completed my undergrad program at the University of British Columbia here in Vancouver, Canada. Hallelujah, I am free. My health will hopefully come back. My back will no longer be in pain. I'm gonna be graduating with a Bachelor's of Media Studies, which a lot of people really do not know what it is. But basically, it is a little bit of everything. I did some classes in video production, film studies, art history, visual arts, media theory, creative writing, journalism, all that fun stuff. I feel like this video is gonna be like pretty long, so I'm gonna timestamp all of the topics I talk about. You can just check out the description and find whichever topic suits your needs the best. I don't ever do sit-down videos because I don't like listening to myself talk. So, buckle up everybody, this is gonna be a roller coaster. Also, this tea is burning my hand, so let's start spilling it. I almost feel like I'm in like a therapy session right now. When I was in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, which seems to be a big mood with everyone these days. But I did know that I wanted to go to university and I didn't want to take a year off. I just wanted to get it all over with. My family is pretty sciencey, they're nerds, so I kind of thought about doing like an engineering or a kinesiology degree because I thought I would enjoy those classes, but deep down, man, I knew I would not like doing that for the rest of my life. So I decided that science was not for me, and I was going to apply to arts. So I applied to 3 universities in Ontario for film production, and then I applied to UBC in the general arts, and that was going to be my safety net school. My #1 school was York University in Ontario for their film production program, and I like got an interview for it and I was convinced I was going to get accepted. Spoilers, I didn't get in. I remember getting my UBC acceptance letter and being not completely thrilled about it because I really did not want to go to UBC. But spoilers, it was the only university that accepted me. I don't know if they still do this, but at the time the university had this program where they would fly prospective students out to the campus for a weekend, so you could see what the campus was like and then you could go to some informational session things. It sounds extra, and let me tell you, it was real extra, but it was a free flight, so like I went. I absolutely fell in love with the campus and I learned about this new media studies program they were starting, which ended up being my major. So I moved from my hometown of Calgary all the way to Vancouver, which is about 1,000 kilometers, to do my Bachelor of Media Studies with a minor in film studies. I actually ended up dropping my film studies minor in my second year because employers don't really care what your minor is, they care more about your experience, and I found that with the minor, it was really limiting what type of courses I could take, and I wanted to be able to take a wide range of all media disciplines. So, bye, film studies! So at UBC, res is guaranteed for all first years, but I actually didn't live in res in my first year. I lived with my sister off campus. I really liked living with my sister in my first year because it made the transition from living at home to living in a completely new city much easier for me. That being said, my sister was also the only person I knew in Vancouver, and that was pretty hard. I had a lot of social anxiety coming out of high school, and so approaching people in my classes and like starting conversations with them was like terrifying to me, and like, no thank you. Plus in res, you're surrounded by people 24/7, so for some people they really like being in a community of people and it's much easier for them to make friends. On the other hand, some people really like their alone time and don't really like people, I guess. I don't know. Everybody's different, you know? I feel like one of the biggest misconceptions about res is that people think that their friends from res are gonna be their friends for the entire 4 years, which very well might be the case, but also don't feel like if you're not living in res, you're not gonna make any friends. A lot of my friends came from my programs or the extracurriculars that I did, so if you're not living in res, don't worry, like making friends is pretty inevitable. UBC is also gigantic. It's pretty much a town in its own. So at times it can feel isolating and like you're missing out on that campus community, but as cliche as it sounds, like the best way to make friends is through extracurriculars or clubs. For me, I was part of the cheerleading club and the calendar, which was this student-run event planning club, which I'll get into all of that a little bit later in the video. Going back to the topic of res, I did get the res experience because in my second year, I lived in res in a townhouse with 3 other randomly selected girls. Roommates in res are, like most often of the time, randomly selected. Sometimes you can request to like live with your friends or whatever, but it's pretty much hit or miss with the types of people you get. For me, I very much did not like my roommates. We didn't talk to each other, we didn't share anything, they didn't clean up after themselves. So it was just a big no from me. I didn't even get to know them enough to like know if we didn't get along. We just kind of like tolerated each other / pretended everyone else did not live there. Living on campus was really nice for the convenience of everything. It was really nice being able to wake up like 20 minutes before you had classes, but UBC is like really out of the way out of everything in Vancouver, and so like I liked living in the city of Vancouver more than I liked the convenience of being close to my classes. So in my 3rd and 4th year, I lived off of campus with a different set of roommates. The set of roommates that I lived with in my 3rd year and the set that I lived with this past year have just been great. We get along, we actually talk to each other, we actually like each other. We hang out a lot more, and I think that really makes your living environment different than just, you know, kind of tolerating the people you live with. Moving out can sometimes be a slap in the face because you realize how much you've relied on your parents for things like cooking, cleaning, just generally making sure you're staying alive. Personally, I really liked moving out for probably all of the same reasons that other people say. I liked having more freedom and more responsibility. Also, when I moved out, my parents became empty nesters, which I think they also liked more for probably the exact same reasons that I liked moving out. They liked having more freedom and less responsibility. It's getting hot in here. This tea is toasting me up. So as everybody knows, university is expensive, and I'm not really sure why, but UBC seems to take pleasure in sucking up all of my money. I was really fortunate because I worked a lot in high school, so I had like a fair amount of savings. I got a couple of scholarships, and my parents helped pay for my tuition. So I didn't really have to work throughout university, but I ended up getting a part-time job just so that I could get like some extra income. I worked right on campus coaching gymnastics, which was the same thing that I did in my part-time job in high school. So it was fun. If you can, working on campus is like super convenient. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Because I would work before classes. Sometimes if I had long breaks, I would work in between my classes, but then most times I would just stay on campus when I was finished classes and just work at night. I'm also not sure if other universities do this, but at UBC my job was under the Department of Kinesiology, and so we got grant money from the government, which meant that I got paid more than minimum wage, which was really nice. So I got a job in my 2nd semester of 1st year. I think I was working about 5 hours a week, and then every semester I would increase my hours based on what I knew I could handle. This last semester I was working 15 hours a week, which sounds like a lot when you're in university, and it was, but that brings me to my next point. If you are going to do extracurriculars, which I totally recommend, know your limit. I'm one of those crazy people who hate having free time, so I try to keep myself as busy as possible because it helps me concentrate and it helps me manage my time way better when I have like 1,000,001 things to do. My biggest tip for this is to not throw yourself into everything all at once, otherwise you're gonna get so overwhelmed and you're gonna hate your life. I would add a new activity every semester once I already knew that I could handle everything that was already on my plate. So my 1st semester of 1st year I only did cheerleading, and then 2nd semester I got a job, and then 2nd year I coached a cheerleading team, and then 3rd year I worked way more hours, and then 4th year I joined the event planning club, which is called The Calendar. Side note, I gotta run social media for The Calendar this year, so if you want to see what life at UBC is like, follow at The Calendar UBC on Instagram. Not gonna lie, being part of a lot of activities or like basically just having a life outside of school is really stressful during midterms or when you have a really hectic school week. But a positive of that is that it's really nice having a life that is not completely consumed by homework. It is just so mentally refreshing being able to go to a space where school is not your top priority for like a few hours. On my cheer team, it was like an unspoken rule that we wouldn't talk about school, and that was really nice because you would just come to practice and just like free yourself from the stress of your day and everything you had going on your plate. Guys, it's really important to be able to balance a social life and a school life. Otherwise, you will literally go crazy. I feel like my eyes are just like going crazy right now, and like honestly, that's what university does to you. It just makes you crazy. With my job with The Calendar, it was super fun because it was such a social group of people who knew how to have a good time and also knew how to plan sweet events that were also fun to, you know, just let loose. But something that my parents would often remind me, and another thing that you need to remember, is that you are in university and, you know, classes are still a thing, unfortunately. Time management is really important in university. It took me 4 years, but I finally started using an actual planner. In here, my entire life is scheduled out almost to the exact hour, but I always know what I'm doing or what I should be doing, and I know what assignments I have due or when I am meeting my friends. A lot of people say that university was the best time of their life, And honestly, I thought people who peaked in university just said that. But university does have thousands of amazing opportunities that you're never going to be able to get again in your life. There are so many different types of clubs you can try, and most of these clubs have events with free food, hashtag student life. UBC had a lot of cover letter and resume workshops. I did not go to them, and now my cover letter is pretty trash. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that last year I studied abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark. If you want to know more about my experience with that, I actually made a video about that, so you can check that out over here. So not gonna lie, university is pretty fun, but it's also pretty mentally challenging. There's a lot of late nights and a lot of mental breakdowns and tears. This year was actually the worst year for my mental health. I was just so mentally and emotionally drained that I was having like anxiety attacks almost every single night for a month. Stress is inevitable in university, but it's really important to learn how to manage your stress. And honestly, I think the best way to manage your stress is just listening to your body and doing what is right for you. For me, that means being able to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night and to still be physically active. University can be pretty challenging, especially if you're in a very demanding program, but it's really important to not let school take over your entire life, because there's way more to university than just getting grades. Profs are pretty good for extending deadlines and stuff if you're struggling mentally. As scary as they are, like they were students once too, they understand the stress, believe it or not. They just want the best for you. Alright, my tea is officially iced tea now. So that is basically my entire university experience. Pretty anticlimactic. If you guys have any other questions or you want to know more about a topic, just leave a comment down below and I will do my best to answer it. Maybe I will even make a more detailed video. Who knows? Other than that, you can follow me on all of my social media in the links below. And yeah, that's about it. I guess I'll see you guys later. Stay out of trouble, kids. Bye!